champions, big dragon.
Hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. It's Willy. It's Trevor here with the full 40 presented by the Nova Insider Network and Homefield. Trevor is already laughing at me because I'm all over the place, but that's how we're starting today. Trevor, how are we doing today?
I'm well. It's just I wasn't expecting the pauses where they ended up in that starting sequence there.
Sometimes I just don't say
yeah.
a sentence and I don't really know where it's going at all, and that's like that Michael Scott
And
joke.
I just find it along the way.
Yeah, just let it roll. Let it roll.
So we had actual basketball, kind of.
We did
talk about.
We do, but the first I have to talk about something that happened in my personal life, and I'm so proud of myself. Everyone knows how I'm like an NBA draft sicko, and I know so much about it. This is complete aside, but I have to share this story. My brother sent me a Sporkle quiz. It was name all 495 alma maters or colleges or high schools of where NBA players played. I didn't get all. It was in 25 minutes. I didn't get all 495, and I was like going one by one. But I got 450, and that's been like set off my day. Yeah, it was a disgusting amount.
Oh my God.
And it set my day up for a good time. So I'm hoping Villanova is able to go 450 out of 495 for the year as well. And what I don't know, but something good, hopefully.
Hopefully not any of our rankings.
Yeah, not our rankings. It'll probably be free throws, actually. We'll probably.
Yeah, that'll be our free throw numbers for the season. Yeah, that is repulsive. That well, good for you for being able to stand on business when saying that, like, oh yeah, I'm a big draft guy. I like doing the research. I make my big board every year. You could just be throwing names on a chalkboard. I'd be like, yeah, that's Willy's big board. Check it out. But no, 400 out of 450 or whatever you get is just preposterous. Just disgusting work.
As I was going through it, I was like, "Oh, this is like Rain Man. Like, this is wild what you're doing."
Yeah, not timed. You probably would have gotten all of them.
Oh goodness, yeah. But we're here to talk about the Cats.
Yeah, we had actual Villanova basketball. There's a charity scrimmage benefiting Team Impact last Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. And basketball was played.
I don't think it was as bad as people said it was.
So, I have a few concerns, but like the biggest one that jumped out to me was that Matthew Hodge made the same number of threes as anyone on the team not named Dixon or Longino.
True.
Which Matthew Hodge, who was not eligible to play for some unknown reason, and I think we'll dig into that confusion later.
Which feels like a thread. Yeah, we're gonna have to pull up.
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's not just like a throw. We'll get back to it. But yeah, nobody. I think the rest of the team was 0 for 19 from three, unless you were Eric Dixon or Jordan Longino. Same stuff, different day with look, it's an exhibition game. It's everybody's just getting warmed up and everything. I saw like good shot opportunities. Some of them were good shots that just weren't going in, and some of them were like, "Whoa, step back to the side. Is that your move? Do you practice that shot? Do you go to the gym and work on that shot?" The old Patrick Ewing in the that might have been a game against us too.
I think
he was yelling at.
I think it was. It was pretty sure it was like Marcus Erickson versus us.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my first initial like, and a similar thing with assists, but we can get back to Hodge and his eligibility. But what did you think offensively, looking at the team?
I think there's like a couple there is two known quantities. Obviously Dixon, and it's what I feel like we might say there's a bunch during the season, unless Dixon is like performing at like a true first team All-America level. Like he's going to do what we expect him to do. That just come and he looked a little to start with him. He looked a little bit more comfortable than I even think I thought he would playing the true four. He was I mean, active, getting to his 3-point shots, was still able to post up when he needed to, had what felt like a good shot diet. The spacing on the floor, I mean, Eric is a very good 3-point shooter, and gotten so much better over his career. Um, Looked good. He felt, I think, some people like, I think we thought he might be a little bit slow, being there, and
Did
it
look explosive and quick.
pretty
Slim Dixon is gonna be a thing.
Yeah, even more so, like, obviously, like, where he was his freshman year compared to now was night and day, but he looked even a little bit more spry than he did comparatively to last year. So, I think the Dixon offense, there's nothing to worry about. I was more positive, and obviously level of competition, we were facing Robert Morris, but, like, that's, to be fair, that's still a high, or like, not high major, but it's a Division 1 team. Like, usually our charity games are like versus D2 or D3 teams. Like, this
Yeah.
was a full-on Division 1 team. So, but Longino looked good, which is what I was happy with. Overall, I think he wasn't, for being essentially the number 2 ball handler behind Brickus. There wasn't as much getting people into the offense as I'd hoped to see, but he was able to get to the rim at times, get to his mid range, shot decently well from three, on, like, I think it was like 3 or 4. Um, and so I feel pretty good about that. But with Longino, it's going to be like, we talk about
Show
him.
me when it matters.
Yeah, we talk about him as a shooter. He hasn't shot very well for his career, and we need him to be there. Like, if he's healthy, like, we can maybe make it work. But that's like, those two were the two best things I saw offensively. Um, Wilga Poplar, I think, was just like missing shots. Like, he went
Yeah.
0-3. It was one of those things where it felt weird, and he's probably forcing a little bit of it, but it's long term. I don't really think
He's
there's
not somebody that I was looking at worried about.
yeah,
He can score at all three. That was just like, okay, first game action in a new offense. The secret scrimmage is even more controlled than the exhibition is.
yeah,
So it's your first live action. There is crowd, not much of a crowd, but there were people there, and
yeah,
he was taking good shots, which was the more important thing. Like, you worry about them going in later, but just taking the shots when they were there, being aggressive, trying to get a shot. And I thought he was trying to get other people involved too, which was a good thing to see, because the word about him, I guess, coming from Miami was that he was looking to be more of a lead ball handler scorer type.
yeah.
And sometimes you worry that those guys are like, oh, I have to get myself drafted. Like, again, exhibition game, but it was good to see that he was trying to pass the ball, and he was not being overkill with his aggressiveness, trying to get a shot off. So the other good passer that 10 assists for Brickus. Scoring punch wasn't really there, but 10 assists. I believe the Tommy Godin stat of the day was that was the first 10 assist game for a Nova guard since Colin Gillespie in 2021 or something like that. I think I might be getting the year wrong, but it was the game Colin didn't score against St. John's. He had a double in points in assists and rebounds.
Yeah.
So Brickus had 10 assists, which was great to see. What else offensively, or if you want to talk about Brickus, we
I
can
kind
stay
of
on
want to
that.
talk
But
about Brickus. I mean, I think he's going to be a very good conductor for us, but his offense was what I was worried about because he is being nice 5'8". He's
he's
smaller.
not 5'8", man.
Being nice, he's 5'8".
Yeah.
And I wanted to see I wanted to see what his shot diet looked like. And I'm glad he wasn't just chucking threes. I mean, there was a decent amount, but it was, he would get into the lane, he wasn't getting to the rim. It'd be a floater, it'd be a little push shot. And we'll see over the course of the season, but frankly, just to nerd out for a second, that's probably some of the least efficient shots you can get in basketball, is that floater right there. So you'd like to see him get to the rim, but also he's 5'8". So I understand where you get this conundrum with him. Obviously, going 1 for 8 isn't what I hope to see, but 10 assists was good. He was a good conductor of the offense. There was a bit of, and it is a preseason scrimmage, he was just trying to, but I believe towards the end of the second half, we almost got a 8-second, 10-second violation. because he was kind of just dribbling and trying to pass. He was just dribbling. Like that's the easiest way I can put it. He wasn't making even a strong move to get past the Robert Morris defender. He was just kind of dribbling. And it was a thing where I was like, all right, if you're our lead guard, that can't ever be what you're doing. Like it's either make a strong move and get up court or find somebody else open. To no one else's surprise, press defense still
We don't
stymies
do a
us.
good job of coming to the ball when somebody's in trouble in the backcourt, and it's
Yeah.
been an issue for. I mean, you can go back to Jay's last couple of years. That's been an issue.
Yeah.
CYO dads love yelling at their TVs about it. For somebody to come to the ball when or set a screen, do something when your guy's in trouble back there. But yeah, that's it's an exhibition, but it's a little
Yeah.
scary.
It's a little, but like we'll grain of salt it. Uh Perkins, I don't have much to say. He wasn't making his shots, but he was. It felt like he's going to be a good connective piece at the very least. He should be the sixth man, assuming the offense comes around once again. But I felt like it was fine. He was like sturdy defensively, is what I'll call it. I didn't like think there was a big gap or anything from him. So Perkins is kind of the same. And honestly, I felt the same thing about Mosley. Didn't really feel like there was anything wild that he did, but like for a freshman in his first real minutes, that was impressive.
Just cool dunk.
Or yeah, cool dunk, and it was like fine. The one other person, obviously, that we haven't really touched about, or there's two, Bocce, which is
Bocce.
how they're pronouncing it on there. I still don't believe
That's
that's how they
how
really should pronounce it,
Canon
but
was saying it. So,
we're gonna go with it.
and
I
I
believe
think
it.
I did hear that on the in the arena announcer was saying Bocce. So
I still think it's wrong,
I look,
but we're gonna
you
go
can write
Bocce.
a letter.
But this was the big difference was having a true, he's not 7 footer, but a true big man being able to patrol the paint, get rebounds, and score. I think he missed one shot. And
Yeah,
that, like, I came into the year expecting if he gives us 7 and 7, that's a plus. I think he had like 14, 15, and 10. Obviously, I can't expect that for the whole season, but knowing that that upside is there, and obviously we are playing Robert Morris, let's all remember this, but still, seeing that was a positive for me because not just of what it does for like the defense and what it does for Dixon, but I think what it'll allow us to do, it'll allow us to get play like we now have more lineup flexibility
yeah.
with this, and I'm really excited to see that. And that's the other thing I think I wanted to take from this is Kyle did a pretty decent job of giving us different looks and different lineups, which is what an exhibition game is for. But being able to see the different lineups that he threw out there and think about, okay, there's going to be a time, and I probably wouldn't do it too often, but what does the non-Dixon minutes look like? Like, is it who? What does it look like? And I think you need,
35 seconds before the end of the first half.
yeah,
Yeah,
what does that look like? And I just think Bocce allows us to have a big man there. He didn't really get in foul trouble, which is a thing that obviously plagues a lot of big men. And you
they
can
were
see just
playing a different style that I wouldn't expect to lead. They were
yeah,
playing 5 out. I
yeah,
don't think there were many opportunities for him to really get into trouble there unless it was on rebounds and stuff like
yeah.
that. So um, I agree with you there. And again, like all of it, like we know it's Robert Morris. We're not trying to get over. We're trying to remain calm here. But yeah, he looked good. It was not. It was look. We've had Eric as a more than serviceable center for the last 4.5.
Yeah.
When we had JRE, whatever. But Eric was not somebody that was skying for lobs and stuff like that. So it was cool to see. Okay, at least they're going for it. They didn't
He's
connect on a couple of them, but yeah, it's
he's our
cool
first
having.
true vertical threat as a
Yeah,
center since Omari, realistically. And even
yeah, and
Omari
even
did
then,
yeah,
he had one move, and it was catch ball, dunk down throat.
yeah,
But yeah, probably since Pascal was the
yeah,
aerial threat on that
yeah,
team.
yeah.
But
I was thinking
yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm excited to, like you said, the lineup flexibility. The thing that's plagued us, I think, or hurt going back to Jay's, last couple years was just we were always playing small.
Mhm.
Jermaine Samuels or Eric Dixon was the center at all times. and that was really cool for a lot of reasons. And Jermaine and Eric were really good at that. But having somebody that's actually a body that you can throw at some of these monsters that we're going to see throughout the Big East. UConn has, a 7-footer again. Creighton, I think, has some guy that's been there for a little bit.
I don't know who that
Who's
is.
7 feet tall. And I haven't really looked at the other rosters yet, but I've been seeing the trail of like UConn commits that are coming. I don't know if they're coming this year, next year, whatever, but like they're always going to be big and have options. So it's just going to be nice to see what Kyle does with his added flexibility.
Yeah, and I think something that was cool about Bocce was he was also super athletic, like
Yeah,
runs up and down, like it was a good rim runner. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's just overall like a very very good thing that he's like it's just a good piece that we've had.
he didn't
We
scare me,
always
which
used
was good.
yeah we've always played small. It's felt like out of necessity. And
Yeah,
I think right now, this is with this lineup and this roster between Bocce, between having Malcolm Thomas, between having Nana, and then Eric, we can play small out of luxury because we have enough bigs out there where like Jermaine doesn't need to be playing big or big. And like honestly, our backup big is Eric. Like if we want to go
yeah,
small, we go Eric and we spread them out with guards, and then that's what we do. So like this is probably the first team where I say playing small is and since like 2018, realistically, we're playing small as a luxury because even JRE, like we had him at 5. He's not small, but like
no,
we're
he's 6'7", 6'8"
yeah.
at the end of the day.
And so this is being able to have this be a luxury is going to be a good thing, which also gives Kyle and the coaching staff some optionality, which then they can go in and kind of create opportunities there. The last person I want to shout out is Chris Parker. You could tell at times the game was going a little bit fast for him, but he has a lot of natural athleticism, and he's probably the player that I'm like, if this game slows down for him a bit, and it will, once again, that was his first. I'm
Yeah,
sure he played in like a scrimmage in Alabama, but like this is his first like time with us playing. His natural athleticism, even if he can't hit a shot, is going to be
glue
something that's
guy
very
stuff.
helpful. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
going to be glue guy
yeah,
stuff, and this is a good opportunity for him, just attacking the rim, getting out in transition, and if he starts doing all like the little things, and he was rebounding, he was like sometimes forcing the issue, but I really liked what I saw out of him. I think we tried to towards the end of the game where we basically put all our freshmen out there. Um, we kind of went to him as the ball handler to break the press, and he kind of struggled a little bit with that. So maybe we don't throw him into the fire there, but that was the end of the game. And we were literally throwing the freshman. And I want to give Kyle a little shout out for this. I thought, like, I was truly worried that we were going to think about, okay, we need to win this scrimmage because that's the way Villanova always is. And we were going to take out our like bench unit, which basically played the last like 6, 7 minutes of the game and try and win. And I was like, this will one be embarrassing. Two, like it's way more important for these guys to get reps. And Kyle, this is why he's the head coach, knew that, made the right decisions, and let them figure it out. And we were able to cobble enough points down the stretch to close it out. And obviously, in real situations, Eric and Jordan and
yeah,
are going to be on the floor.
yeah. Chris was a pleasant surprise, like you said. A lot of there were a few things that I saw that I was like, oh, this is I didn't get scared of the future watching the game, which was a good thing.
Yeah,
Chris was good to see. It was good to see the other freshmen get minutes. The unpleasant, this isn't good feeling. The only one that I had was that we just found out Hodge is
yeah,
ineligible currently, and they're working on whatever they have to get him cleared by the NCAA. I haven't looked into it. I I haven't seen anything besides that announcement, so we'll find out when we find out, if we find out, I guess. Would have liked to see him
yeah.
get some run, but
Yeah, and I know he like is from Belgium and played over there, so there might be something with that. But at the root of it, I mean, this is I'm gonna just kind of like say this like, who cares anymore? It
yeah.
like why are we pretending that this matters in
Did
any way?
did Creighton or didn't Creighton sign somebody that was playing
Yeah,
professionally in Europe?
yeah,
Not that I mean, Sash, but I don't think he was playing professionally. I think he was
yeah.
doing like
And
his
then
just like national team stuff. But
Ivisic, who was at Kentucky and then transferred to Arkansas with
Yeah.
Coach K, also had the same issue and was still it was. I mean, they held him out for a bit, but was able to play. It's just kind of getting to the stage, and this is just like larger term, like the mask of amateurism is kind of like being removed.
There are
Like,
no rules in college
yeah, there's
basketball.
no
Why are we
rules,
pretending there are rules?
but then every once in a while the NCAA will be like, no, 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 we still can, we still can do this, and it's like,
And we're gonna do Villanova. That's
oh,
the
Villanova,
program that's
yeah,
been skating by. That's who we're gonna punish here. Yeah, they deserve to be caught with their pants down about this. Yeah, that kid that they were all excited about on that podcast, he can't play.
no, not at all.
No.
So
And we're gonna do the same thing to his brother when he makes his choice next year.
I was about to say, didn't I just see he committed? But that was Cooper Flagg's brother who committed to
Yeah,
Maine.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. Like I think we'll see what happens with him. Obviously, we are hoping for the best, and we'll obviously as news comes up, we'll retweet, we'll talk about it, and we'll see what's coming happening there. But I think this is probably a good time to break for our home field ad, unless there's anything else you had.
No, like you said, we're not gonna overreact. Overall, scrimmage was good. Exhibition was good. Chris Jenkins was on the call. He sounded good on Fox Sports. Other than that, I didn't really have he we did get our Jordan Longino played college or high school football. He's tough when Ferrante was sitting there with them. So you can check your bingo cards for that one.
I want to get a thing in my apartment, like a wall, just right here. Whenever I hear it, so we can scratch it off and just
Yeah.
have how many times
I
it
thought
happened.
you meant you were about to like go get something and you need me to stall right now.
Oh,
But,
no, no, no. No. We'll do
yeah,
that'll be in a later episode.
yeah, yeah. All right. So
All
we'll
right.
get into home field and then talk about the schedule.
Yeah. So the full 40 is presented by Homefield Apparel. Homefield Apparel, we all know it. We all love it at this stage. Homefield Apparel is where you're able to get all your college needs, any college tee, any college pullover, any college bomber jacket, or as someone likes to say, a bomba jacket, to quote one Chris Bellotti. Thinking a little bit more about home field, this is just a really, really cool. I'm happy that we're working with them. I love the website. I love being able to like. My biggest issue with home field is like I want to buy so many other school stuff, but I'm like, all right, I gotta wait for Villanova. Like I would love to rock like honestly, I'm not kidding. I would love to rock like a Campbell Camels thing because I think they have the coolest logo. And like there's a big part of me that wants to do that. If you're a weirdo sicko like me who loves to just buy random crap from other schools, Home Fit Apparel is where you can get all your college apparel needs. Use promo code Nova Insider. Once again, promo code Nova Insider for your first purchase. Get 15% off. We all know how this works, but I'm excited about it. And we're going to have a recorded one for you. So we're not just doing this off the cuff. And I'm talking about how much I love Campbell Camels, but I'm not going to, I honestly I might do that in our actual ad. I don't know because there's just good stuff. And to my knowledge, once again, we have been told there's going to be a Villanova drop at some point. I'm hoping that's happening soon, but we'll see where that comes in.
All right. Get all your camel gear at Homefield Apparel. So we have our schedule. The first week of the season, we play 3 games. That's because the NCAA has a dumb rule about eligibility, and Eric Dixon is supposed to be suspended for 3 games.
But it's only one.
Oh, it's only one.
Yeah, and I switched to only one game.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess he played the exhibition. I guess they don't care about charity.
No.
NCAA. But yeah, so we open with Lafayette, Columbia, and NJIT. 3 games, pretty much, in 1 week that we scheduled, preparing for Eric to be sidelined for all of them, and just wanting to get that suspension out of the way before we take on St. Joe's. Do you want to? I know we talked about this before the show, but I forget where we landed. Do you want to talk about these like section by section, or just?
We can just kind of like section by section it.
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
These are
These are
3
games that if we
must-win
lose,
games.
if we lose, we know where that's where we're dodging the thing. If we lose these games, we know where we're at. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Even Lafayette without Eric, we know exactly where we're at if we lose these games. Like that's just what this is. I'm interested in the lineup without Eric, what the starting lineup for Lafayette looks like. I'm imagining we get Perkins in the starting lineup, but we'll see what happens there. I'm imagining because Eric's out, we're going to go for more size. So you might see Nana wasn't dressed. I don't know if he's like really hurt or if it was like a banged up thing. But I'm imagining you'll see more Nana, Malcolm Thomas, Mosley during the Lafayette game. But yeah, these three games as they're just the like they're
Warm up
supposed to be
for
warm up games,
yeah.
and if they're not warm up games, we better warm up the bus, is what I'm saying. Because like these are warm up games. It's why we schedule them here. And in general, like just taking a step back, the schedule is softer than normal. Where in on paper, is what I would say.
No, it's a soft
Yeah,
it's a soft schedule anywhere you put it.
yeah,
Paper, plastic,
yeah,
tin, whatever you want to write it on. Yeah, it's soft. Nobody's come out and said it, but we imagine it's because we knew this was going to be a transition type of
yeah,
team. A lot of new faces, a lot of new names, and it's just trying to get these guys reps and familiar with each other before you get into some of the more meaningful games. Not that they're all not meaningful, but
and it's just
yeah,
like I mean, this once again, this is the getting the
this is what they
yeah,
forced everybody to do. We
yeah,
saw schools that tried to have tough schedules last year get punished by not winning enough games or not staying within the right net metrics in these games when they tried to challenge themselves and play tougher schedules.
yeah.
So we are doing what the NCAA selection committee wants everybody to do and play a bunch of pancakes early. Maybe we're the pancake, we don't know, but
We don't know that yet. Yeah,
we'll let you know after the NJIT game if we're the pancake or not. But
yeah,
yeah, look, you need to the non-conference if it's 10 games, we pretty much have to be like 8-2 or 9-1, I think, with the lineup that we're looking at. If we're gonna have any sort of expectations for Big East play.
yeah. I think so.
Um,
I
be,
mean,
yeah, I mean, we have those three games. Big Five against St. Joe's and UPenn, and then then we have the Big Five tournament that did not go well last year. Uh,
a goal would be to win a Big Five game this year.
yeah,
That
I'd
would
rather
be a
not
goal.
finish sixth than Big Five.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that we have UVA, but the juice of that game kind of fell out after Tony Bennett retired and his players are starting to enter the transfer portal.
I'm gonna be at
So
that game in Baltimore. I'm so curious what
I'm not going to
UVA is
be
gonna be like.
anymore.
Yeah.
Not because of that, for other reasons,
When
but
Tony Bennett left, you said, "Yeah, no, I'm
when
done."
Tony Bennett left, I was like, "What's the point? Move me to Arizona. I'm moving to Arizona." Um, and yeah, UVA, that game lost a lot of juice for me. It'll be
I think
weird.
for in general, yeah, it's gonna be a
Oh, I
weird
mean,
game.
obviously for everybody.
Yeah, but I
But
almost mean like we look at these first once again on paper. On paper, we look at these first 6 games. St. Joe's is the best team we're gonna play, which St. Joe's is
yeah,
actually a high quality team this year. Like
yeah.
at
Not that they weren't last year. They were a very good team last
yeah,
year.
but they're
Totally a good team
yeah,
last year.
like to also have St. Joe's at Hagen, like I don't know. I'm
At
probably gonna.
5 p.m.
I'm probably already putting that one as a loss. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they have one of the best equipment or team managers in the game in Nicholas Kesley. So I like the floors are going to be wiped too well for us, and St. Joe's is just going to be too hydrated. So we'll see what happens there, but
It's gonna be.
uh,
I don't feel great about the St. Joe's game already. Is where I'm at.
yeah, looking at ticket prices and it's a 5 o'clock game on. It's just I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah,
But that's really the only one. We get a rematch with Maryland,
at the
which, as
Prue.
we all
Yeah,
remembered, yeah. So that's neutral site. That was a horrible game to watch last year. That was when we were up like 30, and then
yes.
neither team could hit a shot for like 15 minutes in the second half.
Yeah.
Um, the only good thing that came out of that game was we beat Willard in the pavilion again, and I got a video of Brian sitting by himself in his seats because everybody around him had left because of how bad the game was. Um, but we'll see what happens at a neutral site this year. Is that the 9/11 memorial game?
Empire
Or
Classic.
okay,
So different.
different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we got that, and then we close out uh, month of November against Ryder, which again is. Do they have? Did they lose their coach in like recently because he won a tournament game, or am I confusing him with just a generic other
I
college that is kind of similar to them? And
I didn't
no,
hear anything
it's
happen.
just a buy. No, I didn't mean like he left. I meant like they had a good year the last couple years, and guy got a promotion basically.
Oh,
No, you look confused. All
yeah,
right,
I don't think so.
forget whatever.
Yeah, I
I've
think
you
Ryder's
know
coaching. You're thinking of
it would
another
be
school.
like no, I know, but I meant like, oh, is this like a St. Peter situation where it's like, oh, they're coming off an Elite Eight. Obviously
No,
it's not the same.
yeah.
But yeah, Ryder to close the first month out again. Some of these games, it would be the epitome of brutality. That's all I can say.
The
Uh,
next game we have, I believe, is Cincinnati, which right? Yeah, I'm not tripping. Yeah,
Top
Cincinnati.
25 team
Yep.
preseason ranking. That is aside from Big East teams that we will play. That's the only ranked team that we have on the schedule for non-conference as of now, like preseason ranking. Um,
Cincinnati's a pretty good
they
squad. Yeah.
Who is their coach?
So they have Wes Miller, who is at why am I saying
Ryder.
no? I'm pretty sure he was UNC Greensboro. Am I making that
Okay.
up? Yes, UNC Greensboro. So he's been at Cincinnati for a little bit. They have a couple good transfers. Dylan Mitchell, who came from Texas this year. Then they had Kentucky transfer CJ Frederick, just naming some of the big ones. They have Seamus Lukosius, who, if you remember, was at Butler and
Yes.
2 years
Yes.
ago
He
just
torched us. Yep.
terrorized us. So not looking forward to seeing him
You
again.
don't forget the European kid that whiter than a ghost that dropped like 27 on you in Hinkle.
And then the most important thing is Cincinnati has an all-name first-team player.
Oh, really?
His name is Jizzle James. A fantastic name. Uh, so I'm going to be rooting for him to do because I want to hear about Jizzle James all day. Fantastic first-team all-name. Which
Oh my god.
there's a lot
I
of
didn't
great
even
names
see
this
that
year.
one. I saw like the Wright brothers.
The
I don't
Wright
even know if they're
brothers.
actually brothers, but Always Right and the other one.
My
Sorry.
uh,
Um,
my favorite first team all name person this year is he plays at Utah Tech. His name is Tennessee Rainwater, and I'm like, I Tennessee Rainwater is the best name I've ever heard. Like not just basketball, it's the best name I've heard in my entire life.
oh my
Like,
god. It's like a bad Clint Eastwood movie. Um, uh, yeah, Cincinnati's the big one to circle on your calendars.
yeah,
That is at home. Yeah, that's home because we
yeah, that's
played at wherever last year.
yep, that's him at the Phil
Uh,
too. So not at the
yeah,
not at the Farg.
cool. And then Big Five Classic again will either be in the 1-2 game, I guess, or the 5-6 game. I don't. Well,
We'll
that's.
see.
I mean, obviously you could be in the 3 and 4 game too, but I don't know how those tie breaks work and how any somebody will
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
explain it to me the week before. Um,
Overall,
it's
how do you feel about the Big Five Classic? Just like outside of us losing in it, like
I
year
think it's
one.
a great event.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't go last year. I went to the Villanova football game instead. We beat Youngstown. I think Youngstown State is the Penguins.
They are the Penguins. Yep.
So we had a
So
lot of fun at that. It was a playoff game. We had a lot of fun, and we were watching the game cast and watched us lose to Drexel.
that's another
So
Sporkle quiz. I could probably drill college team mascots.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, nobody could do it. Nick Gaynor, you say any school Division 1 to Division 3, he has like it'll might take him a second, but he has it. He was
That's wild.
yeah, no contest. Um, Big Five Classic, and then we open Big East play against Seton Hall. Do we have any? Do you want to do non-com record before we get into
Yeah.
Big
Let's
East?
do non-con record.
Yeah.
We also had FDU, but that's the same
Oh,
thing.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Missed them.
Big five non-con record. If I'm going through, I'm gonna go at like let's call the first 4 wins or three. Sorry, 3 wins. I'm gonna call St. Joe's a loss. I'm gonna go ahead and say we beat UVA. we're at home versus Penn, we'll beat Penn. If it was at the if it was at the Palestro, it's gonna be like, so we got what 5-2 right now. 5-2, five
No,
and
you didn't
one.
say who else you were losing to
Yeah,
yet.
5-1. I'm gonna give us. I'm gonna just take a loss versus Maryland.
Okay.
So 5-2. We have Rider, Cincinnati. I'm gonna go ahead and be bullish here. We're gonna beat Cincinnati at home. That'll be the win that like puts some momentum around us. So I think that takes us to 7-2. And then the Big Five Classic, we'd have 2 games.
I
I
don't
can't remember
know.
how many games.
I think everybody
Seven and
gets one.
two, 9. Yeah, no, everyone gets 2. Everyone gets 2 because we lost 2 games. No, we got 1. It's
No,
1. I don't remember.
you
Yeah,
don't play you don't play 2 games
you
in
don't
1
play
day.
it. It's only 1. So 7-3. I don't know how it's gonna happen. We're gonna lose the Big Five Classic. We'll beat FDU. So 8-3 is my guess for non-con.
All right. If we're saying that we have an 11-game non-com,
Which makes sense because there's 20 Big East games. I guess it's
yes.
31.
I'm trying to think. I agree we should win the first 3. Obviously, we should win every game because that's what you get when you put in a full 40 minutes of Villanova basketball.
Hey, man, I mean, from your
Attitude.
lips from your lips
Yeah,
to the
no.
basketball court.
As I I tend to agree with you about the feeling for St. Joe's as we talked about earlier, but just so that one of us can be right, I'm going to say we win that game.
Okay.
Um, and I'm going to say a loss to Cincinnati. So 9-2. Is that if we said
Yeah,
11 games?
it'd still be 8-3. You just flip-flopped games with me.
No, I I
I
didn't say we lose to Maryland though.
Oh, true. Okay, so you're
Yeah,
saying
we're
yeah.
going to beat Maryland. Willard, I don't trust him. Yeah, I think we drop Cincinnati, we drop Maryland.
Which
What did I say?
which on paper, like 9-2, 8-3 feels like a pretty
That's
decent
where we
spot.
need to be, I
That's
think,
yeah.
to be able to be confident. And no matter what the 2 are, look, if you lose to FDU and Rider, but you beat St. Joe's and Cincinnati, then like that says something weird. But you
Which
beat
maybe we should say that
those
because if
teams.
there's
Yeah.
anything that's gonna happen this season, it's gonna be something weird.
Yeah. So something weird might happen and you might win these big games. And for instance, like you could go to the Bahamas and play 3 fantastic games and come back crowned king of the ocean. And then, lose to Drexel like the next week. Something like that. I don't know.
It wouldn't happen to us.
No, couldn't be us. But yeah, I think if you want any sort of confidence going into Big East play, I think a 3-game loss max for this non-com. Anything else, it's like okay, this is going to be a weird season,
Yeah.
or it's going to be a tough season if it's anything more than 3. But again, it part of those wins and losses is how did the team play during that. If it's one of these things where like the offense completely shuts down and we can't score for the first 10 minutes of the game and then we lose by 2, like sorry, it's not a moral victory for me anymore. But
So if we're looking at 8 or 9 games right now, Big East we have 20. We can dive into the numbers of it, but I think what we have to get to, as Chris always we love to do with Chris, is how do we get to 18 or 19 wins that before the Big East tournament? That that's the number we have to get to. How do we get to 10 or 11 wins in the Big East? In the Big East, we open up with Seton Hall at home, and we'll do deeper dives as we get closer into all these. But like just initial vibes, or once we'll see how the season goes, I like it. That could be anything, and that's the big thing. My overarching take for the Big East: anything could happen.
yeah,
Like
well,
the only
I think 2 things are going to happen.
Go
The
ahead.
top
Yeah.
3 teams will be UConn, Creighton, and Marquette, and then as we've seen in years past, in any order for those 3, by
Yeah.
the way. And as we've seen in years past, it'll just be any combination of, Villanova, St. John, Xavier, Providence, Seton Hall, and Butler, and then anchoring with DePaul and Georgetown in some order.
And here's
think
my
yeah.
take: the bottom's getting better. DePaul under Chris Holtman's
Yes, they're
they
catching
just
up.
beat I forgot who they beat in a scrimmage. I wanna look that up real quick. They just had a big scrimmage win, like, versus a high quality, I don't know why I said it so weird, high quality team. Loyola Chicago. So, like, a good quality team, but, like, they beat them pretty strongly in a scrimmage. Um, Chris Holtman's going to get them better. That's just going to happen.
Yeah, an interesting thing that we kinda talked about in the offseason was that the coaching in the Big East is insane.
Yeah.
Um, you either have I think 8 of the 11 coaches have at least, um, a Sweet 16. You know, a couple have national championships, obviously, a couple have Final Fours, but the, separation is getting larger
Yeah.
between, Neptune and his, colleagues there. Um, and yeah, Chris Holtman coming back is like, "Oh, great. We have to deal with this guy again."
I mean, let's
Um,
just call a spade a spade. Like, he
it
at
didn't work out for him.
well, not even just that. On At worst, he's the second worst coach in the Big East, if you think Kim English is worse.
Yeah.
Or from resume perspective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
From a pure resume perspective, like Shaheen Holloway, like maybe he's the worst coach, but what took a team to Sweet 16. Like you can't argue against
Elite
that.
8, wasn't it?
Elite
Or
Eight, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You have
He took a team that barely had fewer resources than Seton Hall to the
yeah.
Elite 8.
Holtman's made multiple tournaments. Cooley, obviously, there's the whole Cooley thing, but like has made
He
multiple
makes
tournaments.
tournaments,
Yeah.
yeah.
Holloway, I just mentioned. I'm going through. Thad Matta has a historical, has a Final Four, Elite Eight. I
I
can't
think he
remember.
has
What
a
he had.
Final
Well,
Four.
Final Four. Kim English is probably the other one that you could be like, okay, maybe Kyle's better than Kim English, but Providence had a better year last year, so we'll see. Um, it's Kyle, Shaka, Final Four, Patino. No, we all know
Vacated.
Patino vacated. McDermott should have been in the like was so close to like
Oh my
knocking on
god.
the door of it. Hurley, I've never heard of him, but I think he has a couple titles.
His dad
Um,
is a really good coach.
yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So like on paper, like that's a thing we have to think about. Not just non-conference, it's fine, but like every single one of these teams has seen us multiple times, has seen how not just have seen Villanova, but like has seen how Kyle prepares, understands it. And at this stage, it's like I fully believe Big East play is just like it's execution from the players, but also coaching. And this is the year we want to see Kyle take a step forward and be like, no, 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 I'm not the 11th worst coach or the 10th worst coach. Maybe I'm like the sixth or fifth best. Like take that step forward.
I
We're
would
like,
say
okay,
10th
there's
best or 11th best, but that's just me.
true 10th
Yeah.
best, 11th best. I'll do a more positive spin. But like we want to see that step forward where we're able to see that out of Kyle, and that's going to frankly, I'm just gonna say that's probably gonna decide our Big East play. Is like what kind of step forward we see
Yeah.
Kyle.
I mean, if you wanna get into actual numbers and try to like,
Yeah,
you have to hope to split. UConn is a tall task, Marquette's a tall task, Creighton is but, like, you hope to get of those 6 games, of those 3 top teams, you hope you can get 3 out of that, no matter what the 3 are. If you can get 3 wins out of those 6 games, that's massive. Not just for, 3
if we get
wins.
three,
You get 3 wins out of that, that's like,
I think we're a top 25 team all of a sudden. Yeah, like honestly,
not all at once, but I'm saying like, look, filter in like the other losses that'll come, but like you, like going back to there's teams you have to take care of business against Georgetown, DePaul, and then these other guys that are around us
you
in
have
the
to
middle of
protect
the
home
league.
court. You just
You
have to
have
protect your
to
fans.
you have to at least split with you have to beat the teams that you have to beat in Georgetown and DePaul. So that's
Yeah, that's
you get
4. That has to be
4.
4 wins. Yeah,
All right, so if we're at 13 right now, and then if you can split with the other guys, that's another 5. And if you can take 2 or 3 out of 6 against UConn, Marquette, and Creighton, um, and I almost want to throw Xavier in that group too. I'm like kind of high on Xavier this season. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm high on St. John's. So
And so that it's we talk about it in October that oh yeah, we could do that. But yeah, it's you have to beat the teams that you have to beat.
Which, yeah,
Obvious,
yeah,
breaking news. Um, and you have to be able to find a way to not like the win against Creighton gave us an irrational amount of hope last year. We need 2 games to give us irrational hope this year, at
yeah.
least I would say.
I think that's a good way of thinking about it. And then breaking down the schedule, just like the flow of it, like we start
Yeah,
with Seton Hall, we hit on the road with Creighton and Butler, so we get our Midwest kind of our big Midwest swing out early, which I kind of appreciate getting that out of the way early.
over
Um,
Christmas break too.
over
Yeah,
Christmas. Then we have DePaul at home once again, and like I think DePaul's going to be better just because naturally because of his home, but like we have to win that. And then it's UConn, which like I don't know, maybe I'll make another
in the
wild
Fin
prediction.
over Christmas break.
Maybe I'll make another wild prediction on that one and get yelled at online, but like we'll see how I feel then. Um,
I'll say it now. We're gonna beat them.
yeah. um, but like if there's a game we're going to have to if there's a game to get the win, it's that game
Yeah,
because it's not happening in whether it's in stores or in Hartford, wherever it may be. It's not happening there. um, then we're on the road back to back St. John's and Xavier. Um, two like that's gonna 2 hard games. That's just what it's gonna be. We have home for Providence, home for Georgetown. Um, at Marquette, just put a loss there already. That's just not happening. Cannot figure out at Marquette. Home for Creighton, at DePaul versus Xavier, St. John's. That stretch is, I think, probably the key stretch.
I think so. Starting with that Xavier game at the middle of February, that is like our murderer's row right there. Of Xavier and St. John's home, away at Providence, away at UConn, home versus Marquette, and finishing up away at Seton Hall. Like that is a and then we end the season with Butler and Georgetown. But
I
that
almost
stretch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that 6 game stretch is like we have to have our act together before that because it's gonna get messy.
I know you've been thinking of it like this. I almost look at it differently. Not that stretch is insane, but I look at it as like that Creighton, DePaul, Xavier, St. John stretch. If we're able to do our job there, because we're at
Okay.
home,
Yeah,
because
I
we have
got
them
you.
at home. If we're able to do our job there before we hit the Providence, UConn, Marquette at Seton Hall, Butler situation, that will like. And I'm just thinking of being at home. If we're able to protect home court, that will be a huge stretch for us because then we get into that Providence, UConn, Marquette at Seton Hall, and that is tough. That's just what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's a very like we had a stretch like this last year too, I think, to close out the season. Like we were kind of
Mhm.
soft early in our conference and then finished with a tougher schedule. And like this is, a rinse and repeat of that. If we do the work early and don't dig the hole that we dug last year, it should go better. Um, but yeah, looking at that, it's just like that's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks. Um, for what it's worth, uh,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good. just calling him
Kyle
as it is.
Neptune owns Kim English. That's all
Yeah.
I know.
I just don't feel good. Like I'm trying to. I was like sitting here, like, how can I be positive about how I feel about this stretch? And I'm just like, there was a point where we were going through. I was
Oh,
like,
it's
are we about to go?
October,
Oh,
and it's
like, are
yeah,
we about to go 0 for 20? I'm like, no, we're not going to go 0 for 20.
it's October, and we're already like, damn, how do I
Yeah,
spin this in a way that the millions of listeners aren't going to start freaking out? And yeah, that is a schedule. You play everybody in your conference twice. Turns out.
which I love. Like I do love
Oh,
it.
it's great. It's
Yeah,
great. Stay away, Dayton. Um, yeah,
we
that's a
gotta
tough
be.
stretch.
We have to beat Marquette at home. That I think if I'm putting a game as our most important game of the season, just already, it's that game February 21st versus Marquette. Assuming we're able to like split and stay where we're at.
If it were in any sort of
If
position,
we're
that
in
is the
any
key game.
position,
You're
that's
saying,
the game.
yeah,
Yeah, that has to be the game. If we're
yeah.
in any position.
I mean, I'm again. I think there's so much. Like I'm. I need the season to start to see how
That's the
these other
other thing.
middling teams are kind of playing because like a lot of guys are getting a lot of hype on paper. Seton Hall is getting a lot of you could be worse than Georgetown on paper, and I don't know what to make of any of it until these teams start playing.
To be
So
fair, I'm gonna say people might fight me for this from Seton Hall. It's a team led by Dylan Adewusu, who I think is bad at the game of basketball.
Oh, but Kadari Richmond.
R.I.P.
Oh shoot, I forgot. Yeah, St. John's
St.
player
John's,
now.
yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, so need to see some people play first before I can have a more educated guess
Yeah.
um about the outcome here. But like, think we win 10 games? Do you think we win 12 games? Do we win 7 games? Like,
I'm just gonna go through first thought, we'll see where we're at. Beat Seton Hall, lose Creighton, lose Butler, beat DePaul, lose UConn, beat St. John's, beat Xavier. We're gonna do both on the road. We're gonna lose to Providence. We're gonna beat Georgetown. We're gonna lose to Marquette, lose to Creighton, beat DePaul, beat Xavier, beat St. John's, lose. I'm gonna say we have to beat Marquette. I'm at that number. I think I'm at is 11.
okay, because I wasn't counting.
Yeah, I was. I think that number I'm at is 1. I was going fast because I was just like first thoughts.
Yeah,
I think I'm at 11.
I think I saw the line. There was a line the other day, I think coming from the Big East barroom, putting Nova as 9.5. So I like 11. I'm not gonna lie. I don't obviously have any indication of it'll be those 11. But if we have to have an above 500 Big East.
I'm at 11. I think just like to like feel like step on a soapbox here. The expectations for this program can never be like to be like it should never be like this low. Or this is probably the bottom of what it should be like of like the
We
expectations
are
for
we are definitely looking up,
yeah
wondering how we got where how we
yeah
got here isn't important, but we're here. Um,
and so
and yeah, it's don't get me wrong, I'm embarrassed to say like, yeah, maybe we can get 10 games in the Big East, but we
yeah
I
I'm gonna go
think
11 yeah
yeah, because I'm more positive than you, uh I'm gonna say 13. Um Yeah, I see for people not watching the stream, Willie's face, what's I'm not gonna be able to think of the name of the movie. Um,
like in a
but,
cartoon when the guy's eyes pop out of his head.
I'm just gonna say 13, I don't care.
I thought you were
What are
gonna
they
say
gonna do?
12. Thought you were gonna say 12, and I was
Well, I
gonna
was gonna
groan.
say 12 but I was like, "You know what? That's not different enough." I could say 7 or I could say 13, so I'm gonna say 13.
No, all right. I appreciate it.
I think I look, we all know what happens if it isn't.
Yeah,
This
we
is
all do.
like,
Yeah,
you know, we don't have an athletic director right now, but like people are going to be making decisions if the season doesn't work out. So it's
yeah.
like, you know, you got to win some games here, got to show us something. And I think this is the year. This is
Well,
the Eric Dixon legacy year.
I mean, I hope so. And with your prediction, I think you had 13-9. That's 22 wins for
Yeah.
the season. So hey, 22 wins.
Don't care how we get them. Just give me
That's
22 going into the Big East tournament.
that's a strong 7-6 seed with a strong Big East tournament. We could be talking top 4 seed.
Oh
Come on,
yeah,
baby.
dude. Oh yeah.
Um, and then I had with 11 and the 8, have us at 19, which is probably the right
That's the
side of the
first
bubble.
number. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the right side of the bubble, just assuming how it always historically has been. But we obviously see what that 19 is.
Yeah.
It could be depending on what it is. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I can't be
News.
pessimistic about it. I
Yeah,
need to have something to be
you can be
hopeful
the
about.
positive person, but like
Yeah,
newsflash, the Big East is tough.
I
It's
know
a good
that.
conference. Um, yeah. So
I know
that's our
that.
that's our records. 22 wins for Trevor, 19 for Willie. We're gonna see how
We
this
don't have
goes.
to. We don't have to hold any.
We're holding
These
ourselves to
cannot be
this.
held against me in a court of law.
Tweet at us after every game. We're getting closer. We're getting further away.
Yeah,
Um,
this is. Yeah, I totally don't regret saying that already.
hey, someone needs to be the positivity here because I'm just
Yeah,
not being it.
yeah, I'm making up for it.
Yeah.
It's not usually how I am. So
Just wait till the
Uh,
games start, and I'm like, "Oh, wait, no, I love this," and I'm ready to
yeah,
start.
yeah, you're gonna go sicko mode about Mosley or Chris Parker's upside as a ball
I'm
handler.
gonna say something wild about them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, like,
I know we're gonna come back after the Ryder game, and Willie's gonna be like, I think Chris Parker's an NBA player. Which, look, I'm nothing against Chris Parker right now. I just like obviously nobody knows, but like obviously he has the physical upside to it. But it's
yeah.
like Willie's gonna be like, he's an NBA player, not next year, but probably the year after, So don't get, and that's just gonna be like, it might not be Chris Parker, but whoever has like a show out game against Ryder, like I'm saying like 7, 12, and 5 assists or something, and Willie's gonna be like, it's
I'm gonna tell
there.
you right now, Josiah Mosley you will hear my name. You will hear.
I'm a bigger fan of Mosley than you are. Yeah, I'm waiting for that. Like I'm allowed to say, oh yeah, we're gonna win all these games because I was the only one that correctly predicted that we were gonna win the battle for Atlantis last year. So I have that feather in my cap still. Um,
All right.
I don't know if we have much more else we want to talk about, or if I can get into my random Wildcat of the week.
No, let's talk Wildcats of the week.
So I took a straw poll from the group chat earlier, and Brad sent back a suggestion that we weren't sure if I had done or not yet. So I went with somebody that I know we have not done.
Okay.
And getting to his Wikipedia page, I immediately learned things. Michael Bradley, class of
Ooh.
2001. Did you know that he played 2 years or 3 years at Kentucky before getting to Villanova? Because I did not know that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, transferred to Villanova as after his sophomore season, and then averaged 20 and 10 basically at Villanova, and got drafted by the Raptors, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he had a nice 6 or 7 season NBA career. Played for a whole bunch of teams. He would be a great what's the
Hoop grid.
what's the name of that game? Yeah.
Hoop grid
The
or
grid,
immaculate grid.
yeah.
Yeah, grids. Yeah.
I always use I actually always use our last week's Wildcat of the week, our last podcast Wildcat of the week, just because
Use Malik.
um I use Malik all the time.
Mine. I
Because
always
he
use.
played for so many teams and had so many teammates throughout that thing, and it's like, oh, he played like 7 games for, this team, like that counts. That's a 0.0003% selection. Anytime I know that I can sneak him in there, I do.
Just as an aside, I always use Rory Sparrow because he
That's
played
another
for
good one.
so many teams early, and I always I always get good stuff with Rory Sparrow.
Yeah, he had a few years with the Raptors. Played for the Hawks, the Magic, the Kings, and closed out his NBA career with the Sixers.
I remember him it's funny because I remember him as a Sixer more than anything because I at 2000 I
Yeah,
was 8 and I was barely a Villanova fan at the time. Because at that time period I was
big
bouncing from Philly
fan.
to I was bouncing from Philly team to Philly team at that time. So I was definitely a Temple fan in 2000. And I remember him popping up as a Sixer there. I did not know he averaged 20 and basically 20 and 10 at Villanova, which
No,
I
that
will.
was by far
Yeah,
his
yeah.
most impactful season of his. I don't have overseas stats in front of me right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, 20.8 and 20.8 points, 9.8 rebounds in 31 games at Villanova,
Which
which is insane.
I don't know. Has
Was
anybody ever averaged a 20 and 10 season at Villanova? I want to do some digging on that,
I
but I don't.
mean, I'm gonna say yes, just not recently.
Yeah, it would definitely be old, and it definitely not
Yeah, yeah,
I'm Howard Porter's probably the only person I'm thinking of that might have been 20 and 10, and even still, that probably. Yeah, he was 20. Jeez, Howard Porter was definitely 20 and 10.
yeah. He was
Howard Porter was
probably like 27 and 17.
was 22 and 14 pretty
Okay.
consistently. Yeah. So
Yeah,
different time.
yeah. Back when you couldn't have agents.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael Bradley, his pictures on the wall up the steps to the Davis Center with all the other Villanova NBA players, which is cool. And yeah, that's also the name of my journalism professor when I was at Villanova. Different guy.
I was gonna say, was he
Um,
a journalism professor?
no, but he was also this is the basketball player is Michael Thomas Bradley, and my professor was Michael J. Bradley.
Ah,
Totally different. Also, I'm guessing that the basketball player is probably twice the size of Professor Bradley. But shout out to him, stud, also a stud. Yeah, that is that's what I have. If you have anything else you want to talk about, we don't really have our scheduling down yet for future shows because we have our first game of the season's on a Monday night.
I
Am
think
I
we're
correct?
scheduled to. I think we're scheduled to go. We're gonna come back immediately. Not immediately, but I think we're scheduled for the 11th, which is Veterans Day. So we're gonna let the first 3 games happen because
Right.
I'm not gonna try and get in there. Maybe there'll be a space. If we lose, there will definitely be a space. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm just gonna say if we lose, there will definitely be a space.
Depends how.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm moving next week. Depends how bored I am when I
Oh
get
yeah,
there.
true.
Um, but we will be back at least uh, on November 11th.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the games that were and St. Joe's, and then it should be similar as last year. It should be mostly every Monday after that.
Yep.
But we will see how that goes. A lot of things up in the air at this point, but for
Yeah.
sure November 11th. And we'll be tweeting and maybe have a space in between there. Um,
I hope you should hope we don't have a space because if things just go as
yeah,
business as
that's
usual, we're
fair.
probably fine.
That's fair.
If there's a
We'll be
space,
tweeting.
yeah, if there's a space, it means that we lost to like Colombia again, and the world will be on fire.
Losing to Colombia led to one of the catalysts in the golden age of Villanova
So maybe
basketball.
we should
Some
lose to
people are
Colombia.
saying.
Maybe we should. Yeah,
No, we should not.
I'd take the trade off if
we
it meant
also beat Colombia
2018.
in 2018, which
Yeah,
was the most dominant NCAA run in modern college basketball. I don't care what UConn fans
the
say.
UConn fans are gonna fight
Yeah,
you.
does that ever bother me? No.
They're always gonna fight you.
They don't know me. They're gonna fight with you, and they're gonna fight with Brian and Chris. They don't know me. Um, but
Yeah,
I think we're there.
cool. All right. Well, thanks, y'all. We will be back on November 11th, and as always, let's go Nova.